America's watching ABC.
I'm off with Cosmic to a land far away.
Look, Ronald, we're going through the Milky Way.
It's different from home. It hardly looks real.
Ah.
Why, here you have to fly through McDonald's to get a Happy Meal.
Now Disney's Tailspin characters are at McDonald's in neat die-cast toys with propellers that actually move. You get one Tailspin toy with each McDonald's Happy Meal you buy. Tailspin Happy Meal at McDonald's.
KLTV, proud of East Texas.
The world is full of watch out for. Can't do that. And tough, there are no more. She's a clown, but she's no fool. She breaks her bends most every rule. Little Rosey, that's our little Rosey. She's always got some role to play. She knows she's got to make every day. A little Rosey, that's our little Rosey. Imagination, bold determination. The one and only. That's our little Rosey. That's our little Rosey. Little Rosey.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I think something new is cooking with Super Golden Crisp cereal. It tastes better than ever.
Look, Sugar Bear.
More golden coating makes an extra yummy sweet taste.
Yummy.
Now more golden coating makes Super Golden Crisp the honey delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Seconds?
Yeah! Look what I got. Musical Sugar Bear. Wow. One squeeze and he plays music. Let me try. It's cool,
You can get a musical Sugar Bear ornament free in Super Golden Crisp.
She's crying. Don't cry. Please, baby. Hush, little baby. Mommy's here.
Meet Hush Little Baby. She cries for a bottle, watch it go down.
Listen, she's drinking.
She sucks on her bottle and looks around.
Wow, look at her eyes. Now you're happy. Hush, little baby. You're my real baby.
Hush Little Baby comes with pacifier and magic bottle. Batteries not included.
This is a special report from ABC News.
I'm David Brinkley in Washington. President Bush is in Czechoslovakia, his first stop on an 8-day overseas journey to shore up support for the international coalition opposing Iraq. Mr. Bush's visit to Czechoslovakia is the first ever by an American president, and he spent part of the day helping to celebrate the first anniversary of its democratic revolution. ABC's Britt Hume reports.
The president's motorcade through Prague took him over cobblestone streets lined with people who braved a bleak and blustery morning to see him pass. The Czechoslovak executive mansion is an 18th century castle, home now to Václav Havel, the playwright and political dissident who finds himself president of his country after leading the so-called Velvet Revolution that toppled the communist government a year ago this month. The morning was taken up in meetings between the two leaders, who later were joined by other senior officials.
Have any good coffee?
Very good. In fact, Havel has wavered in the face of bureaucratic resistance to reforming his country's economy, and people here are restless. As he spoke to the people's representatives, though, Mr. Bush, ever the diplomat, never mentioned those problems as he extended modest U.S. assistance for the transition to a market economy.
And I'm here today to say that we will not fail you in this decisive moment. America will stand with you to that end.
Czechoslovakia's task has been complicated by the higher oil prices resulting from the Persian Gulf crisis. That issue casts a long shadow over this whole trip, requiring mention even in a speech celebrating Czechoslovakia's independence.
I have this feeling in my heart that no peoples understand better what is at stake in the Gulf than Czechs and Slovaks. you know from your own bitter experience that the world cannot turn a blind eye to aggression.
Watching over the president's shoulder was 70-year-old Alexander Dubček, the one-time communist leader who was banished after he led the reforms of the so-called Prague Spring of 1968. He is now president of the National Assembly and a symbol of the nation's struggle for liberty, which President Bush recognized today with a catch in his voice.
I salute you for your courage and your vision, for all that you have endured, and for all that you are destined to achieve.
During all this, there gathered an overwhelming crowd in Wenceslas Square, scene of the demonstrations that brought down the government a year ago. By mid-afternoon, the streets were so choked that the president's motorcade could not get through. It finally did, but it was nearly dark by the time the president, shrouded in a glass-walled security booth, concluded his remarks by presenting Czechoslovakia a replica of the Liberty Bell.
And so when bells ring in Wenceslas Square or in Bratislava or in anywhere in this glorious country, think of this bell and know that all bells are tolling for your precious liberty, now and forever.
At the end, the president stood outside, acknowledging the cheers of the vast throng. Long live Havel, they chanted. Long live Bush. Britt Hume, ABC News, Prague.
While the public's attention was on President Bush, his Secretary of State, James Baker, was conducting some private diplomacy, trying to win commitments from members of the UN Security Council for a resolution authorizing the use of force against Iraq. More on that from ABC's John McWethy.
While President Bush is off in Prague, Secretary Baker has made a side trip to Geneva in an intense search for votes in the UN Security Council. It is a rare enough occurrence when Baker meets with the foreign minister of one African country, and just about unprecedented when he goes out of his way to meet with 3 in one day. But Ethiopia, Zaire, and the Ivory Coast are all on the Security Council this month, and Baker is making a personal plea for their support for a UN resolution authorizing use of force against Iraq. He needs just 9 yes votes for such a measure to pass, and if all goes according to plan, after today, he will have 3 of those votes locked in. Tomorrow in Paris, Baker meets with the foreign ministers of 5 other Security Council countries, with the most difficult session expected to be with Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze. At a minimum, Baker needs the Soviets to promise they will not veto a use of force resolution, but Baker is pushing for the maximum, a yes vote from Moscow. John McWethy, ABC News, Geneva.
Tomorrow, the president will make his first trip to visit the new united Germany, where he will meet Chancellor Helmut Kohl. And later Sunday, he will head for Paris, where he will sign a treaty reducing conventional military forces in Europe. And Mr. Bush will spend Thanksgiving Day having dinner with American troops in the Saudi Arabian desert. We'll have a complete wrap-up on the Bush administration's efforts, public and private, to rally support for its Gulf policy later on the Weekend Report. I'm David Brinkley in Washington.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Fibbing, Malone. Rosie fingered you and Dollface together in this very room. Huh? Pops, Malone. I was wondering when you'd be crawling out from under your sink.
You want I should ground them, Ma?
Nah, they was just leaving.
Freeze, you big lug, or the lady gets a little water on the knee.
No.
Tell you what, give us what we want, and I won't say anything about the fishing hat.
You talking about my fishing hat?
No, nothing. Forget it. All right, Dollface was here, but I didn't sell her.
You're fibbing.
Come on, let's go. It's getting stuffy in here.
What was that about my fishing hat? Did you sell my favorite fishing hat?
I still think they know where my Lulu is.
Forget it, Rosie. We had them pinned against the wall. They gotta be clean. Someone else is behind this.
What's wrong?
The brakes! They're not working!
Don't just sit there! Do something!
great. Wait till my dad sees the scuff marks on these. He's already calling me no more new shoes, buddy.
Well, it's your own fault, riding around with bad brakes.
It wasn't the brakes, sweetheart. Someone tampered with them. And I think I know who. The Brain brothers. Matt and Jeff Brain were criminal masterminds. I'd run into them more than once. They spent most of their time running a cheat sheet service out of an old warehouse. The last test was over 2 weeks ago. So I figured they'd probably be getting desperate for money.
How'd you do?
How'd I do what?
On the test, I got a lousy C.
Me too. Nothing was easy in this town, especially 5th grade math.
You think the Brain brothers don't at my Lulu Gumshoe?
Good chance. They're pretty crafty. You can't turn your back on them for a minute. But don't worry. You're with Gumshoe Buddy, the best in the business.
Don't try nothing funny, Gumshoe. Make a move and I'll show these to your parents.
There are test papers. You got a D.
So, I exaggerated a little.
Why don't you get wise, Gumshoe? You're a nickel and dime detective, and you'll never make it past the 5th grade without our help.
I don't need your cheat sheets. Whoa!
Oh, yeah? If I were you, lady, I'd find myself another private investigator.
I'll stick with the one I've got.
Have it your way. Matthew?
Gumshoe, what are they gonna do to us?
It's the old papier-mâché galoshes.
Papier-mâché, from the French papier-mâché, a craft of fashioning objects from any kind of absorbent paper that has been soaked in a solution of water and glue.
What? I thought you guys were gonna make big, heavy paper boots on our feet and then make us go for a permanent swim.
That's what we said. Sometimes our criminal genius is wasted on the dullards of law and order. Ladies first.
But what about my Lulu?
Wherever she is, she's a lot better off than we are.
Here comes the new Cobra Hammerhead.
The Cobra Hammerhead will sink those Joes.
The Hammerhead is 6 vehicles in one, with sea sleds, attack submarines, and flight pods, with missiles that really fire.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
But here comes the G.I. Joe Retaliator.
Rescue those Joes! Grab the tank with the gripper claw.
A real American hero! Get G.I. Joe's out!
G.I. Joe Hammerhead comes with figure. You put it together. G.I. Joe Retaliator and other figures sold separately.
We are chicken, and rapping's our thing, 'cause rapping's all talk.
And they can't sing.
We like to rap and unwrap too. Wow, look out! We got this dance where we spin around. We get real dizzy,
Then we all fall down.
hit it right on. We can do that,
But we're chicken.
We like this rap, it really rocks.
But we'd rather jump in the barbecue sauce, 'cause we're chicken.
You know the one McDonald's.
Nobody pays any attention to me. I'm not a little baby and I'm not a teenager. It's like I don't exist. Like I'm invisible. Grown-ups should not ignore someone who's tall enough to see up their noses.
Every morning at this time, Dad puts one of those great Eggo waffles in the toaster, and I'm always the last to get one. Until today.
Hey, let go of my Eggo.
I can almost taste it. 2, 1. Brilliant.
Eggo waffles, part of this complete breakfast. Also in delicious nut and honey.
A flawless execution. Almost.
Eggo waffles.
Real cooking, tasty baked oven. You could make a yummy cake with frosting on the top. You could make some cookies your friends will like a lot. cooking, tasty bake oven. Make some fudge and brownies, decorate them too. Real cooking, tasty bake oven.
Real Cookin' Tasty Bake Oven, the complete 22-piece baking set. Adult assembly required, light bulb not included.
Saturday.
Would you kindly get out of here?
Lou and the kid take a lover's leap.
I love you, kid.
The Young Riders, Saturday.
Go ahead, flip your lid, flip your bride, or flip your fry. It's an all-new and hilarious America's Funniest Home Videos Sunday.